The Nintendo Switch 2 has been out for half a month now, along with, well, finally the official release of GameCube Classics, which is, in a sense, the re-release format Nintendo's in before, for their classic games, such as with the Virtual Console service on the Wii, 3DS, and Wii U, being that the Nintendo Switch Online, well, now renamed the Nintendo Classics, being the successor for that. And it's awesome because, well, like myself and many others, I've been waiting for GameCube games. Sure, we've had essentially $60 ports, or sometimes 40, maybe even 50 of these games to the Switch, such as with Pikmin, Metroid Prime, and Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, but this is the first time these games have been re-released in their original format on a Nintendo platform. And I have to say the least, it kinda sucks how things stand right now. Yeah, we only have 3 games, being The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, F-Zero GX, and Soul Calibur 2, you know, the one featuring Link, which is cool because it's the GameCube version. Now, the only thing, though, is, what's funny, you can change languages and see you can have 6 games on there. Yeah, that's kind of pushing, to say the least. This is not a great lineup. I'm not saying these games are terrible. No, not at all. I love Wind Waker, F-Zero GX. I'd love to check out more. I always hear it's a fantastic F-Zero game, and I play, a lot of the original F-Zero games, such as the SNES one and N64. But to say the least, this is a just odd lineup. I mean, in general, the Nintendo Classics / online releases have been just odd in general. I mean, why release Wario Land 3, not release Wario Land 1 and 2? Mario Land 2 came out, we didn't see Mario Land 1 until a year later. Nintendo just loves to do things odd, and I guess it's because, well, they're doing something different. Really, I was saying that if we didn't see some sort of GameCube game this month, well, the service just kind of sucks, and, well, it still does. Now, we have seen the lineup of games they're going to be releasing, such as Mario Sunshine, Luigi's Mansion, Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Chibi Robo, and Mario Strikers, but I'll be honest, that lineup kind of also sucks. Oh yeah, and I forgot Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, but I should say as well, when I use the word suck, I don't mean as in these games suck, it's just, where's the quantity? Where's Double Dash? Where's Mario Baseball Superstars? Where's the Advance Wars spin-off Battalion Wars? Where's Pikmin? You know, there's all sorts of GameCube games, and we finally got this service, and you're telling me that, well, we just have this oddball lineup? Not to mention, these games aren't even out yet. We have to wait for whenever Nintendo decides to release these games for us, as in shadow drop them. So, yeah, have fun waiting for that. Now, I predict that, honestly, these games are going to release at very specific times. Luigi's Mansion will probably release in the Halloween season. October could even be a Halloween drop in general. Honestly, Mario Sunshine, I think we could be seeing any second because, well, the game literally is a summer-based title. And don't get me wrong, I do love playing me some Luigi's Mansion during Halloween and Super Mario Sunshine during summer. The official day of summer is, well, right around the corner, so I think Mario Sunshine is going to be dropping any second. In fact, by the time this video goes up, it might already be out. But basically, to say the least, is this GameCube online service kind of sucks. And yeah, there's only about 4 million people out there with a Switch 2, but come on, it's just not great. Nintendo, I guess, in general, was making this launch lineup, well, very drip-fed in general. I just don't really like that kind of setup. It's weird, you know, looking at the Switch 1's release compared to the Switch 2's release, you might think isn't the greatest. Yeah, we had Breath of the Wild 1-2 Switch, but Nintendo really did something similar with the Switch 1 as with the Switch 2. Now, unlike the Switch 1, though, the Switch 2 has a repertoire of being able to play all sorts of Switch 1 games via backwards compatibility. The Switch 1 was making an entirely new library of games, so you had, what, like 10 games to play at launch? So really, the Switch 2's lineup is, well, technically better. And yeah, you can definitely argue and say you're literally just buying like a Switch Pro or something. Don't get me wrong, it technically is the case. And you probably have already gotten tired of Mario Kart World. You're getting ready to, you know, go crazy bananas with Donkey Kong Bonanza coming out next month. Maybe even Mario Party Jamboree Live TV. Or how about that Kirby and the Forgotten Land DLC coming out in August? Well, this year is still really jam-packed for the Switch and just, well, Switch 2 in general. So we have a lot of stuff coming up. But I think what was kind of odd, though, was in the Nintendo Direct, they showed Mario Strikers for some reason being a part of the lineup, and they had to clarify that that's not going to be part of the launch lineup. So that does make me think that might be one of the games that's going to be releasing for the GameCube Classics, as in, well, might be the next one because, well, it literally was right in there. But I honestly do think Mario Sunshine is going to be the next game. and if not, it will be dropping this summer. I mean, heck, it was literally first in the lineup. Now, these games being first in the lineup for what's coming doesn't exactly mean what's coming next, because, well, Kirby the Amazing Mirror actually came later than it was supposed to come. All these games from left to right on the scrolling thing of the Nintendo Direct didn't mean when they're coming out, but generally speaking, at least as we've seen so far, Mario Sunshine, or any game that's listed at the beginning, well, is going to come out first for the GameCube Classics. Now, it is certainly weird, though, that Mario Sunshine is releasing again on the Switch, since we did have the 3D All-Stars port. And it's also really strange that we're not seeing Pikmin or Pikmin 2, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, even Kirby Air Ride on the lineup. And I'm sure we're not going to be seeing Kirby Air Ride for a while, because, of course, Nintendo wants to sell Big Buko Buck's new sequel, Kirby Air Riders. But we will eventually see all of these games that have been released or had some sort of sequel in some format on the Nintendo Switch Online, since we've seen this before, such as with Link's Awakening on the Game Boy, as we've had the $6 remake on the Switch. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon had a remake, and 5 years later, we had the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team game released on GBA Online, and a whole repertoire of other games, which I'm sure we'll see other games like Advance Wars eventually on the online services. Really just all sorts of games I'm sure we'll see eventually. Now, one game in particular I do think that is going to be released on the GameCube Online to hype up, well, a new entry coming out on the Switch would be Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Now, is this me just technically just won this game because I never actually played this one? Well, some and some. Yeah, half and half. Now, why I say this is the case is because Nintendo has the Metroid Prime Remaster. As I mentioned, though, before, Nintendo will eventually release, well, Metroid Prime on the GameCube Online, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to not release Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, especially Metroid Prime 3. I mean, heck, just release the whole trilogy at this rate. But people who say only own a Switch can only play Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 4, so it's really strange to say the least. Now, I could be wrong. I do think both those games are going to be fantastic. A lot of people tend to say that 2 isn't the greatest, and 3 is a very solid title, but I can't really judge that because I myself never played 2, and I do have access to 3, but I would rather play 2 before 3. So what's the holdup, Nintendo? But honestly, I could see really either Metroid Prime or Metroid Prime 2 happening, but I do feel as though Metroid Prime 2 would be more likely to happen because, well, there already is some way to play Metroid Prime on the Switch 2, not some way to play Metroid Prime 2. I mean, heck, it's the Switch 2, so it would make a lot of sense to put Metroid Prime 2 on there. And this isn't the first time Nintendo has done oddball things releasing games on the Nintendo Switch Online. As I mentioned with Wario Land 3, we still don't have Wario Land 1 or 2. Mario Land 2 came out before Mario Land, so yeah, I definitely can see this happening. I'm sure Nintendo probably is thinking that most people who own a Switch 2 that have interest in Metroid Prime probably have already played the original Metroid Prime through the remaster, or maybe even the original release, because, well, Metroid Prime did sell a lot more games than Metroid Prime 2. I mean, heck, Metroid Prime has a whole lot more chances than Metroid Prime 2 and 3 combined. Now, it is awesome that you can use your GameCube controller adapter all the way from the Wii U 11 years ago, but it does suck not having a home button or a capture button. And it seems like Nintendo doesn't really care whether or not it works, because it just simply shows up as a USB controller. So yeah, they really want you to spend that, what, $80, $90 on some wireless GameCube, essentially Wavebird-esque controller. Don't get me wrong, that is really cool, but I don't think exactly I need to spend that much money on a GameCube controller, but I can go out and probably get one for about $20 and use my adapter if I really wanted to. With that being said, then let me know what you think down below. What kind of GameCube games do you want to see on the Nintendo Classics service for the Switch 2? Well, even if you don't have one, just really say it down below. I definitely want to see Wario World, very underrated game, very expensive for some reason as well. Maybe because, well, nobody knew it existed. I didn't know it existed for a long time, but it is an awesome game that I highly recommend people play, especially being a huge fan of Wario Land myself. WarioWare Mega Party games would be awesome to add as well for the multiplayer. And of course, Double Dash, probably the best Mario Kart game. Really, there's just all sorts of potential with the GameCube. Heck, I nearly forgot about all the Mario Party games. As for which one they might release first, well, who knows really. Nintendo could probably do something silly, or they could do exactly what they've been doing and releasing the Mario Party games in order, which is a shocking surprise, although they released 3 quite delayed. Maybe Nintendo will release 4 and 5 together. Maybe they'll release 4 first, 5 way later on, 6 way later on, and 7 at the end of the Switch 2's life. Who knows what's going to happen, but it would be interesting considering that microphone mode. Well, it would be awesome to check out considering the Switch 2 has a built-in microphone. With that being said, then, hope everyone's a great rest of your night, day, time zone, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.